I dug the carrots today, partly because, yeah, they're fine in the ground, but you let them go too long, it can kind of be a mistake too, because especially what'll happen, like see, you can see this one has been chewed on. Pocket gopher will find them, and they will go right down the row, eat your carrots. So, you know, this seemed like a good time to dig them. And I'm putting them in sand, carrots like this, of this size. I'm putting in buckets of sand in layers without touching each other, and that seems to work best. The one thing I'm doing different this year, I am actually cutting off this top part. Now, that's something I don't normally do. Normally I leave that on. But it is the first thing that starts growing, or trying to grow. So I think getting rid of that might be a good idea. I have read about that before. So we'll try it. At least maybe in one bucket. I'm going to have like 3 buckets. Normally I use a nail keg, but I've got a lot of carrots, and I figure, okay, just store a bunch of them. This size are going in the sand, but something like even this size now, those I'm setting aside, I'm going to actually can those in pint jars as a whole carrot. Good for in pot roasts and that sort of thing. And then there's some of them that I'm going to actually slice and can them in half-pint jars for use in soups and stuff. That works good. Normally, this will last me till spring, the carrots that are in sand. They will stay good. Keep them cool, dry, no light. But, by spring, you start getting a little iffy, and you still got a long way to go before the fresh carrots are ready to start using. So I always have some canned up to hold me for the soups and stuff in between. But I got a lot of good carrots. Some pretty odd mutants, like this one. I don't know what that carrot was trying to do. But those I'm throwing in a pile down there. And I'll see, maybe if I chop them up, the chickens will eat them. I would think the horses will eat them, but mine have never shown a great desire for eating carrots. Because even like a big one like this now, it's tough to deal with. It's going to be mostly wood. So that's scrappy. But for saving, this is a nice size of carrot. Just keep layering them in there and keep adding sand. But I got a lot to go through. See, this is a pretty good carrot, except it's got one weird knob on it. But what I will do is I'll break that little knob off. Yeah, I don't know why they did that. That'll be fine without that. Because in theory, then it kind of heals over that cut. And these things, these tops, I'm actually going to put them in the ground. I have a theory. I think on carrots, they will actually come up next year from this. They will start growing, but they will be a seed. They'll grow up and they'll go to seed. They will not make a carrot. But that would be how you get carrot seeds. So I'm going to try that. I'm going to put a little plot in there, stick some of these a couple inches underground, and see what happens next spring. It could be, I don't know why I'm thinking that was the way it was, but I'll have plenty of carrots. But like I say, there's a gap in there. come the end of winter, you know, where you need something to carry over, so that's where the canned carrots come in. See, I don't know, that's like an almost pornographic carrot. But my theory is I could, you know, break off the one good arm and can that, and the rest of them. Or I could slice it up too. You know, this initial run through is just to see what is the best for storing. You know, because it ain't no good putting in a bad carrot. And some of these big ones, I don't know, you know, that's a lot to deal with. Because even, like if I'm making chicken soup, I mean, that big of a carrot is a lot of carrot. But, if you're making like a pot roast, well, okay, maybe that's a good amount of carrot, I don't know. But I'll have plenty of carrots. Because I'll have at least 2 5-gallon buckets, maybe 3. But sand is the thing that works. That's what we always did growing up. But the only thing new is that cutting off that top. You know, and I could see the theory behind it. Particularly if they're in a place where it gets a little bit too warm for them, or if there's a little bit of sunlight coming in. The first thing in spring, they will start trying to grow from that top, and then the bottom will rot. Well, if they don't have that top, and you keep them cool, I think it'd be okay. Seems to me I read that someplace. I've never done it that way, but I'm willing to chance it. Because the normal way, just like this, when I put them in, you know, I can keep carrots until spring without a problem. So we'll see whether this makes a difference. Well, I'll tell you what, it'll be a long-term experiment, but this bucket I'll do this way, the next bucket I'll do the other way, my regular way, just trimming that top off. And we'll see if there's a difference. You know, they might, at least they wouldn't want to sprout. You know, they wouldn't be taken off right away. Because otherwise, as soon as it starts warming up, they think about growing. Man, I have good carrots, but I could see the pocket gophers were eyeing them. You know, the little mounds heading in the direction of the carrots, so it's time to get them out. They'll do that on potatoes too. They'll get in. Once they find a good line, they'll go right down the line, eating every one. And they're trying to fatten up for the winter, so. Yeah, I got some pretty peculiar carrots. Well, I don't know the purpose of that, but you know, like I say, that's you know, if you try to, like for soup, that's a big chunk of carrot floating around in a hunk of soup. That, you know, that's a little too much. But I could, you know, like I say, dice them up or slice them like that, you know, and then can them for making soups. So they'll go in the reject pile for now, but I'm, you know, be going through the reject pile. Man, I think I'll call it good for that bucket. And now, you know, I could put those snap-on lids on them, but you don't really want it to be airtight. But those particular lids that I have, I look at root that looks like fuse. The lids that I have aren't actually airtight, but they will keep critters out of it. You know, that's kind of the main thing. But this is good sand. You know, purple, because there's nothing. It's just sand. The only reason I brought a whole bucket full is because I got a little hole. I'm in the driveway and I got a little low spot here. So whatever I don't use, I'll just fill that whole low spot in. But that's going to be awful heavy. But I have had good luck keeping them. You know, and it's nice to have that over winter. You know, so I think maybe even, you know, like some of them rejects, well, I might put them someplace, and, you know, maybe if a guy was to even like chop them up and cook them, maybe the chickens would really appreciate that in the middle of winter, you know, some vegetable kind of thing. So then, like, I'm going to just scrap them. I mean, I'm going to do something with them. But, you know, like say here, you know, that's a weird looking carrot. I could save him, sure, but, you know, what in the world? You'd have a hell of a time just cutting him up to put him in something. And there's no point when I got, you know, good carrots that are a lot more uniform and easier to deal with. But I got carrots. But I'll have to try, you know, this one I won't cut the tops off, and we'll just see next year. In spring we'll see what the hell the deal is. If I can tell any difference in the saving of them.